Earlier this week, I didn't feel like myself at all. It happened at a networking event, one of those sleek hotel bars where everyone seems polished in just the right way. Fitted suits, confident laughter, heels clicking on marble. The kind of place where success has a costume. I stood near the edge of the room, my shoes pinching with every step, reminding me that I was dressed to fit in, not to breathe. The glass wall behind me caught my reflection, hair smoothed a little too tightly, smile practiced, shoulders squared more than they wanted to be. And for a second, I didn't recognize the woman looking back at me. Everywhere I looked, there were versions of the stereotype. Agents who moved with ease, who slapped backs and shook hands like they owned the air around them. I felt smaller in comparison, shrinking into the background. When someone asked about my recent sales, I caught myself mimicking the tone of a rival I'd overheard earlier. Louder, sharper, more certain. But it wasn't me. It was a borrowed mask. By the time I stepped outside for air, the night felt heavier than the heels I kicked off under the table. My feet throbbed, not just from the shoes, but from the weight of pretending. And the thought that came was sharp. Maybe the stereotype defines me more than I define myself. That's where I've been sitting this week, in the discomfort of realizing how often I shrink or stretch myself to fit someone else's mold, and how easily belonging can feel like costume instead of core. Stereotypes are like mirrors that don't reflect the whole of you. They show a shape, a surface, a sliver, and if you stare too long, you begin to mistake it for truth. For me, the stereotype of a successful agent was polished, assertive, extroverted. I thought if I could match that mold, I'd finally feel like I belonged. But the more I bent myself to fit it, the less I recognized who I was. Maybe you've felt this too. Have you ever dressed, spoken, or acted in a way that wasn't fully yours, just to blend in? Have you ever caught yourself trying on the mask of someone else's confidence, someone else's version of success? Have you ever felt like you disappeared inside the stereotype you were trying so hard to live up to? The truth I'm learning is this: stereotypes don't grant belonging. They only demand performance. Belonging isn't costume, it's core. I thought if I wore the costume long enough, I'd grow into it. But belonging isn't found in someone else's shoes, especially not the ones that pinch. Belonging lives in loosening, in softening, in showing up as myself. Even if my voice trembles, even if my shoes are scuffed, even if I don't match the script everyone else seems to be reading from. That glass reflection. At first, it was proof I was a fraud. But later, when I looked again, I realized it was also proof of possibility, a reminder that I could choose how to see myself, not as the costume, but as the person beneath it. So let's pause here. Breathe in, breathe out. Remember, no mirror defines you. You define yourself. Let's reset together. If you'd like, find somewhere comfortable to sit or stand. Notice your body. Notice if your posture is tight, shoulders squared, like you're bracing. Let them drop. Notice if your breath has been shallow, like you've been performing even in silence. Let it deepen. Tonight, we'll use affirmation layering and visualization, and we'll return to the symbol of pinching shoes, not as punishment, but as a doorway to release. Begin with a whisper, soft enough that only you hear it. I define myself. Say it again, a little steadier. I define myself. Now, with breath filling your chest, speak it with conviction. I define myself. Notice what rises as you say it. Maybe doubt, maybe relief. Let it all be here. Repeat again. I define myself. Each repetition loosens the grip of the stereotype, as though the costume unbuttons and falls away. Close your eyes if you can. Imagine yourself standing in those tight, pinching shoes. Feel the pressure, the discomfort, the way they force you into someone else's stride. Now, imagine gently slipping them off, one shoe, then the other. Notice the relief as your feet meet the floor, bare, unpolished, unhidden. Take a breath in. As you exhale, feel the ground receiving you. No costume, no performance, just you, steady, rooted, enough. With each inhale, whisper inside, I am enough as I am. With each exhale, I define myself. Repeat for 3 more cycles. If it feels good, wiggle your toes, stretch your feet gently against the floor. Remind yourself, these are my feet, my path, my pace. I notice in myself right now. My shoulders are softer, my breath deeper. That reflection in the glass doesn't look like a fraud anymore. It looks like someone slowly, steadily choosing to live as herself. That's the shift. The stereotype didn't vanish, but its grip loosened, and I remembered who I am underneath it. Even pausing here is progress. You didn't need to shatter the stereotype in one night. You just needed to loosen its hold, enough to breathe again. That's already enough. I define myself. Here's a gentle reflection to carry into the week. What part of me have I been hiding behind a costume? And what might it feel like to let it be seen? Tomorrow, the world may still present its mirrors and molds. People may still project their stereotypes. But tonight, you remembered something crucial. Belonging isn't borrowed. It's built, breath by breath, by showing up as yourself. And tonight, I'm grateful for the relief of slipping off those tight shoes, for the coolness of the floor beneath bare feet, and for the reminder that no reflection, no stereotype defines me more than I define myself.